Hello, welcome to the Our Media channel, and it's your favorite podcast. It's the Our Media preview show. Today, there's an interesting game. If you're Ghanaian, then there's one game that could really interest you. So, the Black Stars of Ghana are in action. They'll be taking on, Chad, and there's quite a lot surrounding that game. With regards to the Black Stars, Ghana failed to qualify for the 2025 AFCON in Morocco after they ended up with a very unwanted and an awful record after 6 games played in the AFCON qualifier. So now it's more like they've placed that behind it, they've put that one behind them, and they're focusing on qualifying to the World Cup 2026, which will be hosted by three countries for the first time in the history of the Mondial. Three countries have never combined to host the World Cup. And the Black Stars, not just them, the team, but then the head coach, Otto Addo, the technical team, as well as Ghanaians. So over 30 million Ghanaians are quite optimistic and hopeful that the Black Stars could seal qualification to the World Cup. But after 4 games played, the Black Stars are only on 9 points, after losing just 1 game to Comoros. And you're looking at that Group I table, and it's quite interesting how things are shaping up over there. Because before the Black Stars take on Chad, 2 other games had gone on already. Madagascar traveled to the Central African Republic and they got themselves a 4-1 win in that game. A result that saw Madagascar, just climb to the top of the table. That's until the Black Stars also play Chad. And then also Mali got themselves a vital away win, when they went to Comoros, a nation that actually beat Ghana, and they beat them by 3-0. So comfortable wins for Madagascar and then also Mali. And these are the rivals. These are the teams that the Black Stars will be battling against for a place in the World Cup come next year. So, it's quite huge. The stakes are very high for the Black Stars. But let's delve or zoom deeper into the team and let's see, where the controversies and the bone of contentions could be. One of the areas in the team where people really have their eyes on will be the goalkeeping position, where, for the first time in quite a while now, a local goalkeeper was called. And it's Accra Hearts of Oak's Benjamin Asari who was given his first ever call-up to the national team. Mind you, he has had stints with the Black Galaxies. That's the local Black Stars team. But never, ever has he been called up into the Black Stars squad. So he gets his very first call-up. And then there's a section of Ghanaians. It's more like a tirade where people are saying that they believe he's got so much quality and they think he should be the safest pair of hands for the Black Stars in that game against Chad. I don't know what you have to say about that, but this is an interactive session where we're talking, a bit more comprehensively and extensively about some key positions and which players, should be fielded in certain positions. So Benjamin Asari will be coming up against, 2 other goalkeepers. Lawrence Atizigi also, who plays for St. Gallen in the Swiss Super League, and then also Jojo Wallacott. At some point, he was Ghana's #1. He also plays for League One side in England. That's for Crawley Town. And you're looking at the numbers of these teams, or these, goalkeepers this season. So in 30 games for Jojo Wallacott, he's conceded 58 times for Crawley Town. That's quite a huge number. Close to 2 goals per game for Jojo Wallacott. Now you look at Atizigi, he has also played, around 28 games, and he's already conceded 40 goals, for St. Gallen. But you're looking at a local-based goalkeeper who many do not really have trust in, who as the #1 for Accra Hearts of Oak in the Ghana Premier League, a league that year comparatively, if you're comparing the Ghana Premier League to the League One and then also the Swiss Super League, then you could say that it's by steep or by some distance, an inferior league. But Benjamin Asari, since joining Accra Hearts of Oak, has really changed a lot about the club. Mind you, Accra Hearts of Oak nearly got relegated last season, after a very poor season. And one of the reasons why they had a poor season last season was the fact that their goalkeepers, gave away points for free. So they brought in Benjamin Asari, and already he's a captain for the side. He's played in 19 games, he's kept 12 clean sheets, and he's conceded only 8 goals. So you compare Benjamin Asari's numbers to the numbers of the other goalkeepers that are also in contention to claim, the #1 position for the Black Stars in the game against Chad, and it's quite riveting to know that he beats them by a mile in most of these categories, especially with regards to clean sheets and then goals conceded per game. That you'd be thinking that Benjamin Asare could be your goalkeeper for the game against Chad. But people do not really, most Ghanaians feel that yes, it's one thing giving a local based player the call up, but then it's another trying to entrust or even put your trust in that player for that player to deliver. Don't forget that in the pre-match press conference, where Coach Otto Addo was also asked about if he's really seen, the exploit of Benjamin Asare. He answered saying that he understands that Benjamin Asare is one of the finest goalkeepers, on the local scene. But then he needs to confer with the goalkeeper's trainer to know if Benjamin Asare could actually be the number one for him heading to that game against Chad. So one of the positions we keep talking about, and I believe even when the game starts, people will still be looking at that position and thinking, no, did we even make the right choice? For me, I feel yes, equally, if you're thinking about giving Jojo Wallacott, who was once Ghana's number one, and then also Lawrence Atizigi, who was our number one during the World Cup, then perhaps you'll be looking at Benjamin Asare and be thinking, yeah, we could give him the chance. He has what it takes. He's experienced. He's seen it all. Yes, not at the Black Stars level or even the World Cup qualification level. But trust me, Benjamin Asare has been one of the finest, product from the Ghana Premier League. Now, another position people actually have a lot of issues with, before we look at the table and the permutations, has to do with the attacking lines, where we have most of our players flourishing in their respective clubs. Like Inaki Williams has been, so immense and impressive for Athletic Bilbao this season. They're still in a hunt for a Champions League spot and then Champions League football next season. Not just him, but Bournemouth under Andoni Iraola, and then Ghanaian international Semenyo has been exceptional this season. He scored some vital goals, and he's really been one of their best players this season. Now you talk about Ernest Nuama, whom didn't really start the season so well, but then at some point he picked up for Olympique Lyonnais. So he scored twice, when they got a win over Steaua Bucuresti in the Europa League to advance to the quarterfinal stage. So these are players that are playing so well. Mohamed Kudus hasn't been so exceptional since Graham Potter arrived at West Ham, but nonetheless, he's one of the key players you'd always name on the team sheet. So these are players, that are laying a claim to at least get a starting spot in the Black Stars. Not forgetting that Southampton, despite the fact that they look relegation threatened, their Ghanaian star in there, Kamaladin Suleimana, has also been, quite good for them. So we've got players in certain key areas, and we are thinking, which formation do you think would be ideal for Coach Otto Addo to deploy in the game against Chad? Do you think the 4-4-2, will be good? The 4-4-2 flat. Mind you, that Thomas Partey is also in the team currently as we speak. Thomas Partey has been away from the team throughout the AFCON qualifiers, which Ghanaians have actually roasted and criticized him, for showing very little dedication and commitment towards the national team cause. But finally, he's back, and it tells you that the World Cup is the real deal. Every player would want to be present at the World Cup, where you have the creme de la creme of players, converging with their respective national teams to show who is the best. So you can't tell me Thomas Partey doesn't want to go to the World Cup. I wouldn't be willing to listen to that. He would definitely want to go to the World Cup and prove a point, at least not just to himself, not just to Ghanaians, but then to us now as well, who are shied away from, extending his contract, which runs out at the end of the season. So quite a lot of positions in there where people will be thinking, which players will be the great, or which players will be okay to field. I think in the forward lines, Semenyo will definitely get a start. Inaki Williams is there. Jordan Ayew, who plays for Leicester City, is always available. He's currently the team captain after the head coach confirmed that Kudus is no more going to be the captain, and in the absence of Andre Dede Ayew, then it means Jordan Ayew, his younger brother, who definitely going to be the skipper, going into the two games against Chad and then also Madagascar. So there's quite a lot, of bars around the Black Stars, quite a lot, of talking points around the Black Stars, quite a lot happening around the Black Stars. From Monday, to date, they've had a couple of visitations from some dignitaries, and most importantly, and the biggest of all, had to be the president of Ghana, who also visited the team, to share some words with them, because he feels this is the same team that failed to qualify for the AFCON 2025 in Morocco, and now there's even a much bigger task to qualify to the World Cup. But then the question we are asking is that if you were Coach Otto Addo, now the number one question: which formation are you going with? Two, which goalkeeper do you think will be the most ideal, pick to man the post in the game against Chad? And then also, you're looking at a front line where you have about 5 quality attackers. There's Mo Kudus, there's Jordan Ayew, there's Antoine Semenyo, there's Inaki Williams, there's Ernest Nuama, there's Kamaldeen Sulemana. So these are players that on any day have got so much quality that they could, get a lot done for the Black Stars. But if you are Coach Otto Addo, would you be so careful and pragmatic in your approach against Chad that you wouldn't even allow your players to, bump forward, or you think, throwing more men forward could actually expose you at the back? There's quite a lot of dynamics in this. But let's quickly take a look. There's been this trending possible, starting 11, which has Atizigi in post. There's Kingsley Schindler also in there at right back. There's Gideon Mensah at left back. And then there's Jiku and Salisu, where Salisu, has been subject to quite a lot of criticism. Some people are saying he's not good enough, he's flat-footed, he lacks pace, he lacks awareness, he lacks reading of the game. There's quite a lot. I don't know what you think about that. But then also in midfield, there's Abu Francis and then also Thomas Partey. In front of them, you have Mo Kudus, then Ernest Nuama, Jordan Semenyo, or striking. That's quite an interesting take, as far as the lineup is concerned. I don't want to go with this one, but I don't know which one you'd also be going with, because it's always interesting when you talk about the Black Stars of Ghana and which players could be featuring. But now let's take a look at the table and see how advantageous that's playing into the hands of the Ghanaians, or if perhaps they would have to win these 2 games ahead of them. So Madagascar played. Earlier on, I told you they got themselves a 4-1 win against Central African Republic away from home. So that's quite a huge win. So after 5 games, they are top of the table with 10 points. Ghana still lies second, despite the fact that they've played 1 game less and they have a game to play against Chad, the worst team in the group. So Ghana, after 4 games, have got 9 points. The only defeat for the Ghanaians was in Comoros. Now, Comoros themselves, after losing to Mali by 3-0 at home, they are third with 9 points. Mali, they had such a sluggish start to the World Cup qualifying campaign. They are fourth with 8 points despite the win over Comoros. Now, Central African Republic looks like one of the 2 boogie sides. At least they have shown some strength. They've won a game, they've drawn 1 as well. So they are fifth with 4 points. And then Chad, the weakest team in the group, where the Black Stars will be facing them. And I just don't know. But the Black Stars have been a pale shadow of themselves. They've been poor, they've been awful. They've lost to teams like Sudan, to teams like Niger. They've not really been bright, and that has really raised quite a lot of eyebrows and then questions about how good they've been. And even if all the resources been put together to support them is even justified, but it's quite a lot to talk about. Which goalkeeper are you going with? Benjamin Asari, Lawrence Atizigi, or Jojo Wallacott? And then which formation do you think Coach Otto Addo should just field on the day? Will you be going with a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1? Which formation? And then also, which attackers do you think would be ideal for Coach Otto Addo to field?